Welcome back to today's episode of Unapologetic Living. I am super excited. Well, first of all, there are so many bots that come through my email. They're like, we want somebody we have somebody who wants to be on your show, and then I
Uh-huh.
never. And so have started responding differently. If you're serious, please text.
Uh-huh.
And I've had a handful recently, but a lot of times it just goes nowhere.
Right.
So I'm really excited that you reached out. I'm so grateful then, and for that, and I'm grateful that we get to share this time together. I want to welcome Dan Purcell. I love your name, Get Your Marriage On. I think it's so important, and I just think that's fantastic. And I have been listening to your podcast, Get Your Marriage On podcast, but your website
Uh-huh.
is Get Your Marriage On, which is just so incredibly clever. And I'm really grateful that I have a male perspective
Mm-hmm.
because you are a no, marriage and intimacy coach, which
Mm-hmm.
that can include sex.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
And so I want to welcome you, Dan. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Elizabeth. This is so fun. And I love that we're going to be unapologetic and just be raw. This is an unedited conversation we're going to have. And hopefully those listening to this will walk away with, feeling a little more edified, a little more information, a little more, I don't know, hope and
Yeah.
joy in their most intimate relationships. So,
So I know I know that for me, it's very important to have a thriving sex life, fulfilling,
yes.
for
Yeah.
a lifetime. And I believe it can be for a lifetime.
Uh-huh.
Like all ages and stages. I mean, my
Yes.
grandparents, right there, I mean, my grandmother's death, well, we were passionate till the end. I'm like, awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
I don't know what that means, but I don't need to know all the details. But, that was good to hear.
hmm
Um, but I'm 47. I don't know how old you are.
I'm 44.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
so I'm 47, and a lot of the people that I'm friends with are around my age. Several are older, some of my closer friends. And what I hear, and I have a lot of clients, and through this holistic lens of health and wellness that I kind of coach from, I think this is an important part. Sexual intimacy is also a part of our wellness.
Yes. It's so core to who we are, I
Yeah.
think.
And I think that, but what I hear more often than not is that people are having less sex,
hmm
some not
Yeah.
having no sex,
Right.
and for a myriad of reasons.
Right. Yes. Yeah, yeah. And just looking at generations, like the silent generation had a lot of sex. Then the baby boomers, that generation's had less than the previous generation.
Mhm.
Generation X, with all their like free love and everything, actually have less frequency than the baby boomers, and so on and so on. And now the millennials, and now the next generation coming up is even less than that previous generation. So it is like a phenomenon that we're seeing, as if you just count frequency at least. We're having less frequent sexual experiences for people.
Yeah, I was just watching Sex with Emily. She popped on live on
Yeah.
Instagram
Uh
and
huh.
she was talking about just that, how we are having less sex than ever before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I find that fascinating. And I know, and that some of those dopamine hits are coming from just scrolling.
Could be. I don't know if there's just one cause, but whatever it is, uh, you don't have to follow the trend. You can have a thriving sexual relationship um, as you are, and you may not compare yourself to your neighbor or someone, someone like that, but at least compare yourself to yourself. Let's make this year our best sexual year ever. And it's not just frequency alone. There's so many other things that make for a great sexual relationship than just how often.
Yeah, I was just listening to your podcast. Oh my goodness, which one was it? It's great. Let me just tell you, and I'm about 40 minutes through. Uh, Not the best. More sex didn't fix intimacy. but this did instead.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Hmm. With
I
Robert and Letitia. It's their
yeah,
story. Uh-huh.
yeah. And I definitely when I was listening to them share their story, I thought of Esther Perel
Uh-huh.
and something she said the other day. A lot of times people they claim they have low libido when really it's they just aren't desiring the sex they're about to have.
Yes. Right. Right. Exactly. Right. Uh,
So what brought you here though? Like,
great question. So I was not always a sex and intimacy coach or therapist. I was quite the opposite, actually. I come from a wonderful family, and with a great conservative background. And like most people that come from a conservative family, they don't talk about sex that much.
Mhm.
I mean, we're taught like the basics of reproduction, and also the do not do, right? Like the thou shalt not conversations. But the actual like how to build a thriving sexual relationship, like that part was missing. But I didn't know it was missing until 13 years into my marriage. So my wife and I have had a good marriage. We're really good friends. We like each other a lot. We get along really well, communicate well, go on dates often, that kind of stuff. Um, but I didn't know it was missing because I one day I had a conversation with a friend, and in this conversation, my friend opened up to me about his sex life with his wife. And just to preface this isn't the kind of conversations I typically have, and it wasn't like bro locker room type talk. It wasn't that. It was more like he was trying to get my attention and say, Dan, once my wife and I really started to focus on our sexual relationship, everything in my life got better. Like my wife and I are communicating better. We're, our health is improving. We're parenting together better. Even my like job is improving. Like all these things in life get better because our sex life is better. And in all that, he shared a little bit about the struggles he and his wife had had that they've overcome. And I also came to know that they have a very adventurous sex life. And I was blushing the whole time. I was uncomfortable. Like, I didn't know good people did things like that. like, this is a little outside of my comfort zone. And anyway, it wasn't all to brag, but it just gave me a picture of what a thriving sexual relationship with lovers looks like many years into a marriage. And he, it was like that missing piece. Like, oh, sex isn't just like making babies and like something you do to have a release once in a while, but you can actually build something deeply meaningful with it that like puts a smile on your face, a pep in your step, and it makes everything in life a little bit sweeter. But I had a hard time reconciling that with my then knowledge of like, wait, isn't sex kind of bad? Like, or isn't it bad to kind of like sex? Because my the idea of exploring sexuality reminded me of like Las Vegas billboards. It's like it's the side of things that's kind of unsavory, used to kind of draw you in, but shallow. So I've always kind of stayed away from those things. But now here I have a friend who's like really experienced something of depth. So it kind of put me in a tailspin. Like, what's right? Everything I knew isn't like everything I thought. Everything I know is wrong. kind of a crisis. And my wife and I talked to my wife about it that night, and we had a 5-hour conversation that night. Probably the most in-depth, intimate conversation we've had on that topic our entire marriage to that point. And a lot of good things emerged from our conversation that night and everything after. And fast forward a few months, we're communicating better. We're raising our kids together. Like the sky is bluer, the grass is greener, and everything in life is like so much better because our sex life improved tremendously as we started investing in our sex life. So I became really converted to that idea that really good sex helps a couple thrive, it helps you thrive, it just makes everything better.
Yeah, I love that, and I love that you shared that story with us. And I was raised Methodist, so I grew
Uh
up
huh.
in a Methodist church. We went every Wednesday night, Sunday
Uh huh.
morning, Sunday night. I was in the handbells in the choir, like I did it all.
Great.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and in our church, I don't recall a lot of discussion around like the thou shalt not.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Remember that being, and where I know as a friend of mine who was raised Baptist, it was very thou shalt not until you're married. It just, and if they were talking about it, I didn't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I just really don't recall that message being, ingrained in our psyche. I know what our parents had told us. Um, I think, and probably because they did not wait until marriage,
Uh huh.
find someone you love.
Yes.
That
Uh
was
huh.
kind of the message, right?
Yeah.
Ideally until you're waiting till you're married.
Yes.
Um, at 47, I can way more than as a youth see the benefit in waiting and finding that one,
Uh huh.
and then
Oh.
growing and evolving with the same one
Mm-hmm.
over
Yeah.
the years. Because as you see, right, you're probably having the best sex of your life, or it continues to get better, and that's the goal. But when you're like here, like you
Uh-huh.
just can't get there. I'm just, like I don't think
It's
you
over
can.
too quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Uh-huh.
And so, and I know that we recently just finished reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Have you read that?
Yes, I have. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and in the
It's,
back there,
it's got that chapter on sexual
yes,
transmutation. Uh-huh.
yep, and how important that is, and how, uh, again, being able to control that lust as well, right? And have that
Yeah.
energy,
Harness
but
it. Yeah.
yeah, harness that energy. And so I think that it is an energetic force that is very powerful and can be used for so much more than just the act.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
and and I don't necessarily think frequency is the answer. I think it's the quality.
Yes. Yeah, because you could have frequency, and like you said with that Esther Perel quote, like it's the kind of sex you actually really don't want. It
Hmm.
doesn't fulfill you. You're not. We want transcendent sexual experiences,
Hmm.
ones that change us, ones that move us, where you walk out of the bedroom a different person than how you came into the bedroom. So uh, that's what I think, a lot of us really crave and desire. And frequency alone doesn't guarantee that. In fact, sometimes if all you do is push for more frequency, in the short term, it might feel like things are progressing. But if the underlying quality hasn't improved enough, then you're not going to uh, really have those transcendent experiences because it requires more soul. It requires more of your whole person. It requires more of a self to be present and to allow yourself to be intimate with another soul. And that's a different dimension than just banging like 5 times a week.
Absolutely. So I know that before we hopped on, you were talking about something that you had on your mind today, and I'd love for you to share with the audience that
Yeah,
backstory you shared with me.
yeah. Something I've been pondering a little bit today a lot is it's really about the soul of of sex. It's to me this is inspired by a few conversations I've had lately. One last night with a couple where she struggles to climax, and she's a achiever type person. You can tell she's very good at everything she does, and in life she's used to working hard and then getting what she wants, and it serves her really well. So she's working really, really, really hard to have an orgasm. Married many years, still is really elusive for her. Very frustrating. She can get close, but not quite over the edge. She knows it's almost there. And as you can imagine, it feels really, sometimes feels really broken, feels uh, like something's wrong with her. And how come everyone else do it? How come my husband? It's so easy. It's easy to get resentful, right? Um, and in this pursuit, sexual experiences are now for her a measuring stick of who she is. And if she had that climax, then all of a sudden her value and her own personal worth in her mind would jump. But uh, thinking along those, and because it doesn't happen, her value of herself diminishes. So sexual experiences become not something to look forward to, not something to be excited about, because it's just fraught with meanings of brokenness and inadequacy.
Hmm.
I mean, if every time
Mm.
we did something and we felt horribly inadequate doing it, we'd probably not look forward to doing that again, right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So we sometimes need to take a big step back and look at what are the meanings that are alive between the two of us when we have sex. What does sex? What do we make it mean? What is this meaning alive between us? And there's many layers I think that we can get through as we really dissect the meanings. And that's what I would call the soul of sex. What is the soul of sex? What's what's really alive between the two of us when we are close together with our bodies tucked inside each other? What is it that we are experiencing of each other and in each other? I think learning how to really look at that and really dial that in and understand that, I think says a lot more about about our sexual encounters. And also, when you focus on what do we want to create between us, what meanings do we want to be alive between us, we kind of take a broader scope of what sex can mean for us and do for us.
So when you work with a couple,
Hmm.
and in this particular case, how do you go in to help them address this issue, to find that soul?
Yeah. Well, she, in this case, will need to learn how to let go of that thought of I'm inadequate,
Hmm.
I'm inadequate, I'm inadequate,
Hmm.
because uh, it's it's like gripping a tennis ball, and you grip it tight, it kind of pushes back on you, right? But when you let it go, uh, it might drop, it might bounce back a little bit, but it doesn't bounce back as high. Like she needs to learn how to like loosen that grip on that
Hmm.
and maybe replace it with I am worthy. Regardless of the outcome of this sexual encounter, I know deep down that this is something I want to do. I want to be here. Like there's agency in this. There's a lot of choice. I choose to be here because I like this or I like this aspect of it.
Hmm.
That I think would be step one for her to hold on to that.
Hmm.
And then I also believe there's maybe some other secondary third factors going on. People that are high achievers who are used to getting what they want, they're also good at control. They're good at controlling themselves. Self control is good. But good sex requires letting go of control. And that is so scary for a lot of people.
Hmm.
So she'll have to learn how to let go a little bit.
Hmm.
Also, there's just the basics, just learning about her body, anatomy, um, what things she finds arousing, and more of that will help. I also teach a dual control model. That's like the brake and an accelerator, like in a car.
Uh-huh.
All of us have sexual brakes and all of us have sexual accelerators. It's just that some people have a more sensitive brake and some people have a more sensitive accelerator. So it's be really understanding what her brakes are and can we address those brakes so they're less of a brake for her? And what are her accelerators? Can we identify what those are and do more of that?
All right, so can you give me an example when you say break? Would that be something that becomes a turnoff or unarousing, or
Yeah, exactly.
just
Uh
like
huh.
a hard no? No, we're not doing that. No, you
Yes.
can't spit on me or
Uh
whatever. I
huh.
don't know.
Yep. One break for me personally is stress. For me, when I'm stressed, I'm not as interested in sex. That's, I think, the majority of people. However, there are some people where stress is actually an accelerator. When they feel a lot of stress, their libido goes up. So I'm not saying categorically for all people, stress is a break, but that's like an example.
Now you have to,
Another example, yeah.
yeah. Go on, go on. I know.
There's also scenarios where something might be an accelerator for me, but a total break for my wife.
Hmm.
Um, let's pretend for a minute no one is home. Like our kids are gone, whatever, And it's like, let's go make love out on the couch. Like that idea is an accelerator for me because it's like
Hmm.
new, it's novel, it's different. But
Hmm.
for my wife, it would be a break for her because the whole time she's there, she's like, what if, I don't know, a neighbor walks by or someone rings the doorbell or a kid unexpectedly comes home early?
Yeah.
Like that has so much, is so alive in her that she can't like relax and enjoy the
Relax.
experience, right?
Right.
So those are brakes and accelerators. For some people, it's like that's a big turn on. For others, that can be a turn off.
Yeah. For me, just one that pops up is the dog.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? I mean, that's
yeah,
a simple one, but the dog, our dog is this
right.
big.
What if the dog needs to get out or
Yeah, but the dog
interrupts
will sit
us?
on the
Uh-huh.
bed
Yeah,
and just, observe. I'm like, no, this is not working.
uh-uh.
Right? So, but somebody else, it might totally work.
Yeah, yeah, they could totally ignore it and just be just fine as they're
Yeah,
doing doggy style. It's kind
right.
of
But, so like for that, like I know, like again, learning to navigate some of those things that you aren't necessarily even aware of until
yes.
you take some time to reflect on it. Like,
Hmm.
what is in my head right now that I can't let go, or what's going on in this room, or what happened earlier in the day that I'm bringing with me? Um, are, is there too much noise? The kids are asleep.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
mine
yeah.
are grown, but I have a 20-year-old here.
Uh-huh.
And so, you
Sometimes
know,
that makes it harder, doesn't it?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
mean, because it's like you can like figure out ways to be sneaky. I feel
Uh-huh.
like it's a little easier to be sneaky when they're little.
Yes, totally. Uh-huh.
But
They're a
then
little more predictable.
yeah. And so I do think it's important for individuals to really go within to pinpoint what their breaks are. And
Yes.
like you said, I like the accelerator analogy.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Some great accelerators. I think they fall into one of three categories. There's the physical, the relational, and we'll call it the psychological. Like a physical accelerator could be just the way I'm touched, the way I'm kissed, the way I'm nuzzled, the way I'm hugged, or something a little more like explicitly sexual, like the way my genitals are stroked, or that spot that just
Mhm.
touched just the right way in the right rhythm really gets me going. A lot of people find that like can relate to that. Yeah, I love that. Then there's like the relational where it's the romance. It's the flowers, it's the music, it's the lighting, it's the way we talked, the way we emotionally connected deeply earlier. It's the I feel like you really care about me, you're invested in me. I feel like you really listen. Or it's also like people that had a bad argument but they kind of made up for it and then they have the best sex ever after.
Mhm.
It's because it's like that relationship has fueled their eroticism for them. They kind of relate in that way.
Mhm.
I'm not saying go have lots of arguments. As the it's just showing where you find erotic inspiration.
Yeah, and I know sometimes arguments can bring you to that place where you sit down at that table to have those more vulnerable conversations, which can take you right there because you're like, oh my gosh, finally I'm being heard and listened to, and vice versa. And that absolutely brings you closer together.
Yes, because you're more honest.
Hmm.
And honesty, even if it's not always what your partner wants to hear,
Hmm.
is ultimately, I think, really sexy because it's intimate. It takes a lot of courage to really expose yourself and be like, be straight with your spouse. Like, this is what I see. This is what I'm experiencing with you.
Hmm. So I know that um, I I have like so the okay. One of the first books I read, I guess, was Pussy, a Reclamation by Regina Thomas Hauer, who really
Okay.
and she broke down um, the anatomy of the vagina. I don't even like that word because it doesn't really encompass the whole thing. That's
The
not what it
vulva
is.
is the technical term for the hole.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
And so uh, that was a great book on, getting to know the parts and that, we as women, there's over 8,000 nerve endings in the clitoris alone.
Yes.
So that was a book I read. I want in 2017. Fast forward, I found a book through another friend called Sex for One by
Okay.
Betty Dodds. That's not
Betty
Betty.
Dodson?
Is it?
She may have written a book. She's written many books. Uh-huh.
Okay. Did she write? Okay. Well, there's another Betty. I just want to make sure I'm getting the right, but that's the one. And I thought that was a great book because she really talked about getting in touch with your own sexuality and knowing what turns you on,
Yes.
and the benefits of solo sex, because there may also be at times when you are married and even partnered that you don't get to experience that, so that you can still have this thriving, fulfilling experience with yourself during
Mm-hmm.
those times. Somebody might get sick, for whatever reason, right?
Yes.
And so
Uh-huh.
I thought that was a really great book. So I found that book. I don't even remember when that was. And then,
Uh-huh.
there was another book I found called Slow Sex. I don't know who wrote it.
There's two popular ones. There's Nicole Dadon, who wrote
Mhm.
it. It has she
I'd have
talks
to,
about orgasmic meditation.
I don't
The
remember.
other one is Diana Richardson talking about slow sex as in like a tantric approach towards
I,
sex.
yeah, it might have been that. I really don't remember. I've got the book right out there on my dresser. And then there was another one, Sex and Happiness. And I mean, I do believe, like, you're getting married, you're picking this partner. I mean, one of the reasons that separates them from your friends is that you're having this very intimate, pleasurable experience.
Yes, yes,
Um,
and
and I have clients who are in completely sexless marriages.
mm-hmm.
I don't know. Any thoughts on that? Like, I don't know. I cannot fully believe that there is fulfillment in that.
Yeah, it'd be hard for you to find. I if you were in a sexless relationship, I think you'd be out because it's so important to you,
Yeah,
and that makes sense. And for a lot of people in a sexless marriage, it's very distressing.
I
Like,
bet. And
yeah, very
and
distressing.
I wonder if there's, underlying stuff that's really keeping them from being able to go there or reconnect in that way. Because I do ultimately believe that most of us need this. I do believe that.
Yeah, I think so too. There's a lot of talk in my circles about how you never say sex is a need
Mm,
because if sex were an if we took it too far and too literally that sex is a need, then like can you imagine in a rape scenario? They can say, oh well, he needed it, so
right. Uh-huh.
right
Yeah,
it will justify irresponsibility.
of course.
So people hate saying like sex is a need. Also, biologists would say a person can have a perfectly fulfilling life with and not have sex with someone else and still be healthy and all
Mhm.
those things. So it's not like a need like food is or
Right.
sleep or oxygen. But if it's I I think sex is maybe not needed for survival, but it's needed for thrival. To
Rival. I like
thrive.
that. Yeah.
It's about thriving. There is something about the sexual dimension of us that is so core to who we are. It's like right up there next to the spirituality and sexuality are, I think, are really closely linked.
Hmm.
That when cultivated and nourished, it expands us, it opens us up, and it pushes us to grow and develop. There's a story I heard about a mom. She had a middle school kid, and uh, he had him in piano lessons, and getting him to practice the piano was like always like trying to pull teeth, right? You can probably relate.
Oh, yeah.
And then one day she picked him up from school, and he was kind of happy. It's like, what happened today? Oh, a new girl moved in to school, and they were talking at the lunch table, and she found out that he plays the piano. And she's like, "Do you know that Bruno Mars song?" It's like, "Can you play it?" It's like, "Pff, yeah, I can play it." like a middle schooler boy would say, like, will you play it for me sometimes? Guess what? He got home from school that day. He
Yeah.
practiced that song for hours.
Yeah. That's right.
And that's what we're talking about. Like, it's that sexual dimension in a way. It invites us to thrive. Like
Yeah.
we can harness that to really motivate us to grow and expand who we are.
hmm Yeah. What is it? Think and Grow Rich. Like that's one of the most driving forces that we have, right? So if we can channel that,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And I do think, I strongly believe I mean, I believe in a man and a woman
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
more conservative traditional
Yep.
marriage.
Yep.
I'm open to whatever except for that, in my reality, in my world, that's what I believe is to are the two who should come together.
Yes.
Um, and and that driving force where the female is kind of behind, the male is taking the lead, and the female is kind of like fueling, right,
Uh-huh.
the masculine to go after that
Right.
dream, that purpose, that mission.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, and so, and hearing that, right, she kind of fueled that for him to go out there and like
Yes.
learn this Bruno Mars. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and I think that's cute, right? But it makes sense, right? That's what happens. A lot of
Yeah.
times it's that female that's the driving force to get him to like, okay, what am I? How can I show up?
Uh-huh.
How can I
Yeah.
show up?
Yeah.
Um, and and I don't know about you. Have you read David Deida's work?
I've read
Is it
his one of his books. Um,
The Way of the Superior Man?
yes, the way the Spearman. Hmm.
I mean, I do think, the masculine energy really must know the direction he's going
Yeah.
to
Yes.
stand, and we're going to say erect in the world.
Yes. Uh-huh. That's a great fitting word for it. Uh-huh.
And he will connect like a masculine man who is having trouble in the bedroom arena, maybe with erectile dysfunction or low libido, with this lack of direction or mission or purpose.
Yes.
Do you
Exactly.
find that to be true? Do you think that is true?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was David Data's concept to illustrate that. He says like masculine's like New York and
Yes.
feminine's like Hawaii.
Yeah,
They both have strengths, by the way. I'm not saying like we
absolutely.
want women to step in, or the yin and the yang,
Yes.
like to step fully into your feminine strength and into the masculine strength, right?
Right.
So there's another couple I've worked with where sex is really good sometimes, but not good most of the time. And they want to be more consistently good. And he had a mom that was kind of a demanding mom. And he just grew up being like the responsible one. Mom would like put a lot of her emotional burdens on her son. He would carry them for his mom. He was very highly tuned to like mom's emotional state, and he kind of took it upon him as the oldest son to, do those things so that mom's okay,
Mhm.
which is a strength, but also turned into a liability, which I'll explain in a second.
Mhm.
So she marries him, and he is a nice guy. He is a great guy,
Mhm.
very considerate of others, always willing to help anyone, give the shirt off his back, like just a very considerate and thoughtful man. Except in the bedroom, it drives her nuts. Like, uh, she wants him to like they're kissing, and it's like he pauses, like, "Do you like that kissing? Do you want me to keep going? Do you want me to kiss another part? Like, are you like it's okay, keep going." It says, and then like a little while, like, "Do you want me to touch you over here now? Like, just don't ask, just just do it."
Right.
And you can tell like she's really frustrated, but he's trying to be quote unquote considerate. But what he doesn't realize in the bedroom is I had a hard time trying to describe it, but in my mind, it's like his center of gravity. If I'm using a martial arts term or whatever, right? Like where your center is, it's not within himself. It's very much around her. We want female centric sex, so I got to be careful, like the language I use. But it's more he, he doesn't have a self in sex. His self is wrapped up in her.
Hmm.
She is his center of gravity. And now for her, she's a tired mom, also works full time, and all these things. The last thing she wants to do is play air traffic controller in the bedroom. She just wants someone to take him.
Hmm.
Sorry, she just wants someone to take her.
Hmm.
So uh, every time he's like, "How's this? How's that?" It's just adding more pressure and, frankly, more brake to her arousal.
Hmm.
But she didn't have quite the words to articulate kind of what she's feeling. And I think this is what we're talking about. So the strong masculine is going to step in.
Hmm.
You're not going to bulldoze. You're not going to do something unkind or take,
Right.
but you're a little more solid because you're going to bring your masculine strength to this encounter. And as I described that with the couple, and I think they got the concept, she's like swooning, like I want that. That sounds hot. So I got him excited too.
Well, and that's the thing. That's what you hear, I think, from a lot of women is that we want that. And did you watch Outlander?
Uh, I've read the book. I
Okay.
read the first
Well,
book.
I
Uh-huh.
mean, if you watch that show, you like see that dynamic polarity of masculine and feminine, right?
Yes, and they're both in their strength.
And they're
Yes.
both in their strength.
Yeah. With
Exactly.
Jamie and I forgot her name, but yes. Uh-huh.
Well, he calls her, oh, I forget what Sassenach. That's not
Okay.
her name, but that's her nickname, I think. I think that's what he called her.
Uh-huh.
Um, and but yes, you see that polarity very well. And it's like the yin and the yang. And usually there is a masculine and a feminine
Mm-hmm.
polarity, they attract. And when both people
Yes.
are vying for the same position, or in a in or stepping into the polarity they really don't want to be in, they can lose that. And I think if more couples cultivated that polarity, because I think it gets lost as men and women. It's there in the beginning,
Uh-huh.
and then people start having babies. Man goes to
Yep.
work, mama's taken care of, and she might be working too. I mean, like I was a working mom. I felt like I was driving the bus. I was
Yes.
worn out.
Right.
Like I like in the last couple of years have read the book The Surrendered Wife.
Uh-huh.
Do you know her, Laura Doyle?
Yes.
And The Empowered Wife. And I first of all, I couldn't believe I read The Surrendered Wife just because of the title, but it's not what you think,
Right,
right?
right. Uh-huh.
But it's learning how to
It's
like
not being a
surrender.
doormat.
Right. Absolutely. It's about
Uh-huh.
flowing and like letting him, with like little decisions, let him decide the restaurant. You know what? I remember there'd be times I'm like, what do you want to go eat? What do you want to go eat? And I named ten cuisines.
Uh-huh.
None of them sounded good. Um,
Uh-huh.
oh my gosh, just pick, please, just pick.
Right.
I've made all these other decisions all day. I've taken the kids here and there, and blah, 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 blah. I've worked, please
Right.
make a
Just
decision.
lead. Uh-huh.
Yes, just
Yeah.
lead. And I do think that is very much a Christian principle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too.
And that has, unfortunately, with the rise of feminism, some of that has been lost.
Mm-hmm. I think in a good, thriving marriage, they're equal partners. It's not that one takes over the other or one's like, I know people, I think they misinterpret the meaning when they say to be really submissive means like to create a hierarchy. Because what you don't want is a marriage where it's like, it feels more like parental or maternalistic with your
Right.
spouse.
Yeah.
That's not sexy at all.
Right.
Um, so you want to be shoulder to shoulder, bearing life's burdens together. And that sometimes means I'm tired, you're picking the restaurant. And
Hmm.
that's like, because sometimes if not picking the restaurant is not done out of strength, it's done out of weakness, out of fear of upsetting the other, as if the other person secretly has where they want to go, but they don't want to voice it. So you have to play a guessing game to tease it out. And
Hmm.
that's exhausting, and that's probably not the reality. So it's being a little more real, like, I'm tired. And it might be, I struggle picking too. Well, I don't know where we're going to go because we're stuck in the driveway until we pick a place to go. But let's be real here and let's be equals in this. And figuring it out. I think that's a much healthier approach for marriages
Hmm.
when they approach life as equals in that way.
So, um, you coach clients. I know you also said many of them have been married for, an extended period of time.
Hmm.
And uh, it sounds like, you know, do you help them with the communication piece around sex because that can be so difficult?
Yes. In fact, I'm shocked how many people that I meet with, like in my sessions, one will turn to the other and go, I've never heard you say that before, or I never thought you felt that way. But now that they're there in the session, they're a little bit more willing to open up.
Hmm.
And it's like, you didn't have to hire me to be there. They could have had this conversation alone. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's because it's hard to talk about.
Yeah, I know. And this is something. So I, I took a class, I enrolled in two classes by a woman named Kim Anami.
Okay, yes, I know of
Okay.
her. Uh-huh. She's
Okay.
got a great Instagram. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Very
And
opinionated. Uh-huh.
very, very opinionated.
Yes.
And her information is very insightful, though. So the first one was on vaginal kung fu, VKF.
Uh-huh.
And it's a great course because she really does talk about how, you have to surrender, you have to be able to let go, you have to be able to relax. And a lot of times you need to find that on your own before you can really bring it in with a partner.
Yeah, makes
Um,
sense.
she also encourages the jade egg,
The jade egg. Uh-huh. Yep.
because so many women become numb
Mm.
over time for multiple reasons, whether it's emotional trauma or stress, tightening of that clenching of that area,
Pelvic floor
right?
area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like you were talking about that tennis ball, but if you can relax, like sometimes we really are tight. And if we're holding that tension, it really can be held here in our pelvic floor. And
Mm-hmm.
then also, if you've had six babies, right, things are different.
Yes.
And that can change over time. Like if there's been an episiotomy or an unwanted cesarean, like all of these uh, are held within our connective tissue, that fascia, right? This trauma. And so it's important to um, go there, I think, on your own so that then,
Mm-hmm.
okay, oh, I found a spot.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then you go, oh, I found a spot.
Uh-huh.
Will you
Right.
go here?
Will you go explore that spot a little
Yes,
more for
that
me?
spot.
Oh yeah,
And
that spot right
sometimes
there.
if you
Uh-huh.
just hold, that
Uh-huh.
tension and that connective tissue can actually relax.
Uh-huh. And
And then,
expand a bit and
yeah,
accommodate a little more. Uh-huh.
yes. And then, of course. So I know that was, and then another really cool not experiment, but well, it was not an experiment. What would be it? An activity that she had us do was look, the soul gazing, the looking into each other's eyes. And just for, I think it was 20 minutes. That's
Mm.
powerful because
Yes.
with nothing else, you're not going to do anything else but look in each other's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe during that time, you know, I think the very first exercise was like to take turns where we were looking at each other and saying the things that we loved about the individual because that
Yes.
can get forgotten in the day to day.
Yes. Yes. That appreciation. Right. All of that.
And then another activity was clearing that glass. She said clearing the glass, right? You've got this glass of 25 years. If there's
Mm-hmm.
smudges on it from like unspoken things,
Mm-hmm.
that can also interfere with the inability to, relax or have that orgasm and what have you. And so I just found, like these are things I don't think people are always thinking about when it comes to deepening this area of their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Agreed. I think all of those things are really good. I like all that what you just said and shared. And I
And
hope
so,
people try that and experiment with that.
okay, what other things do you bring? Now, do you work with couples? I know you said you were talking to a couple last night. Do
Hmm.
you bring them together in groups or is it virtual? Is it in person?
I have a few different programs.
Mm-hmm.
I do private. I
Mm-hmm.
have group settings that are men only and women only in small groups.
Uh-huh.
And then when they graduate from that, they're invited into like a couples, where we invite just like six couples in a group
Uh-huh.
for something like that. I also put on retreats, and this is where they come
Yes.
and spend 4 days with me. We go really deep for a small group. And we're even doing a cruise this year, first time. We're going to take our program and do it out at sea
Okay,
on a
so
yacht.
now how many, when you say a retreat, how many couples is that generally?
The one we're doing in April, we cap it at 20, and we've sold out. So we'll
Oh,
have
that's
20 couples
awesome.
there.
Okay, that's and so that's more immersive.
Yes. Yep. Very immersive. And we really work on fundamentals. This is
Hmm.
like the one thing that I teach is this capacity to really step into your own strength. We've talked about that. We've danced around this idea quite a bit, but it just looks a little bit differently when you put it in a different context. One example is let me think of a personal example. Um, okay, this is a not sexual example, but it will relate, I promise.
Hmm.
2021 comes and the vaccine for COVID is now available.
Hmm.
In my marriage, one of us is thinks it's the best idea in the world. Let's go get vaccinated.
Hmm.
The other's like, this is not proven. This is risky. They fast track this. We don't know what the repercussions of this is going to be 5 years, 10 years down the road. Bad idea. All right. I'm not saying one opinion's more valid than the other, but when there is a difference, how do you do as a couple?
Hmm.
So one of us decided to go get vaccinated,
Hmm.
and it felt like a betrayal to the other
Hmm.
person.
Hmm.
They were so angry and withheld and shut down, cold shoulder, all the things, right? That's very telling about how my marriage operated at that
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
And it's because when you're married to someone for a while, uh, it's natural to want to control the other person because their decisions impact you. So you want to make sure that the decisions they're making are in line with what you want them to do.
Hmm.
So when they don't do what you want, we tend to do like like in this case withdrawing because we know how painful that's going to be. They'll learn their lesson next time, right? Or sometimes become a bully, like how dare you, and get angry and use anger as a tool. Or sometimes you just accommodate and fold into their reality. And then all of a sudden it becomes not a marriage of two people, it's a marriage of like one person because they folded into the other person's reality, or one and a half, and it's not. So I teach this concept and help them really understand. And that, oh, about the COVID vaccine story. Fast forward a few months, there was an event that we both wanted to attend.
Hmm.
That's we were invited to attend. It meant traveling, and a month before it was to happen, we got a notice saying, "Oh, and you need to be vaccinated
Hmm.
in order to come because we're going to be a large group of people in a small area. Everyone must be vaccinated." And the person that was vaccinated in my marriage
Hmm.
was like, "See, I told you so." Like, we need to do this, right? And did the whole cold shoulder treatment back to the other. Like, it just went around for different reasons. So is the way that immaturity showed up in the relationship because of the way we want to be. Now, in sex, this translates because it's hard to really make love to someone if you need that someone to also be a certain way in order for you to feel good about yourself.
Hmm.
In fact, you can't ever really love someone if you need them to be a certain way or depend on them
Hmm.
so that you feel better about yourself.
Hmm.
It's not actually really loving. It's in a way it's like using another person. So
Hmm.
I break that down. Of course, this is over 2 or 3 days, and we help them see it in their own marriage. But fundamentally, learning how to step into your own, and it's like a room for two concept. This is a marriage where there's plenty of room for two very different people, but
Hmm.
there's room for you and there's room for me. And it's like, what are our strengths, and building on those strengths to create something better together rather than always kind of be opposed with each other. And actually, identifying our conflicts and using our conflicts as stepping stones to invite more personal growth,
Mhm.
more honesty, like what we talked about,
Mhm.
more that invites more freedom. And then that's when sex can get absolutely hot because you can be unapologetic about your desire. That's
Right.
when you can actually be your true self with someone who's being their true self, and nothing can be hotter and more meaningful and transcendent than that. So that was probably longer explanation that you wanted, but that's fundamentally what I believe.
Yeah, but it's that full acceptance of the other as the individual and the soul and the personality that they are, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's exactly what
exactly.
we come. That's what we want, being here is that.
Yes.
And it's awesome to have that with, our spouse.
Hmm. Yes.
And when you feel that, yeah, you're going to feel safer.
Yep.
That sense of safety can be cultivated, and that room for expansion and a lack of inhibition so that you can really let go and experience what, God has meant for us to experience.
Absolutely. Yes. Yep. And I think a lot of people use the metaphor of Christ and the church
Hmm.
as how a marriage should be. And
Hmm.
I love that metaphor because it really is about investment.
Hmm.
But you really can't invest in someone else if you're not your full self first, too. It's
Hmm.
like the second great commandment to love your neighbor as yourself. It's hard to love someone else if you don't love yourself yet.
Hmm.
But the opposite's true too. The more you learn to love another person,
Hmm.
the more through that you learn how to gain your own self-respect and love that too, love yourself too.
Hmm.
So I think they feed off of each other in a very positive way.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, I am so grateful for your time today.
Thanks. This has been a fun conversation.
Yeah, it has been. I've really enjoyed it, and I know people can find some fantastic conversations on your podcast. Get Your Marriage On. There was another one I was listening to, the Black Belt. I
Black
guess
Belt
your
Sex Tips
yeah, your
Roundup 2025. Yes.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
that was really good. I think that's definitely worth a listen, but I haven't been able to dig back too deep because I just really learned of you last week, I think. So,
Well, thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
So get your and then that's your website too, getyourmarriageon.com,
Yeah. Right.
and all of your different courses or retreat information class, the way people can work with you is there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, before we conclude, Elizabeth,
Yeah.
I wonder if our listeners want to hear what your black belt sex tip is.
Oh
Now,
God.
black belt, I'm putting on the spot, and you can put me on the spot too if you want, but
Okay.
it means like you've mastered the fundamentals and now you're ready for the next step.
Well, gosh, I don't even know if I've mastered the fundamentals.
Or what
Like
is
I
it?
mean, I
People
I
want to know what you think makes for great sex.
okay, well, one of the things that I've learned over the years is the the yoni and the lingam massage, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
spending time, just giving to your
Uh-huh.
partner. We have a an hourglass timer, but it's not an hour. It's about 30 minutes. And then we also have a 3-minute one.
Mm-hmm.
And, giving that gift, but then also, and I think it's a really great tool to learn how to receive, because I think that can also be a problem for both individuals in a couple. It's like, I can just relax here and receive, and there's no expectation of me to perform back in this moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I like
Um,
that.
so, and I know for me, receiving was very difficult because I think as women, so often we feel like we have to perform and do for the other. And if the other doesn't have their needs met, then we have failed.
Yeah, right. Also, receiving is a lot more exposing and vulnerable.
Yeah. And
Uh-huh.
just and noticing what comes up during that receiving. Because as
Mm-hmm.
you do that, I definitely it can help move you forward with,
Mm-hmm.
with that level of intimacy. So yeah, so that would be, and then really giving that to your partner, that, again, both you may take turns, maybe it's just once or twice, I mean, it could be, and also with that, you are helping someone, any tension that they may be storing there from past stuff
Uh-huh.
can be released, like on that fascial level, that emotional, all that trauma is connected into
It's
our
all
fascia.
connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
So if
also
you
feels really good.
Yeah, well, that too.
Yeah.
But if you get that, it doesn't have to feel like forever.
Uh-huh.
I like
Uh-huh.
the hourglass timer. We're not looking at any phones.
Uh-huh. Right.
So that's my black belt tip.
Oh, that's a great black belt tip. Love it.
What's yours?
Mine, one I could share with you is go on a getaway, just the two of you, have lots of sex,
hmm
but purposely don't orgasm.
Oh, I think that's another really good one because
Uh
when
huh.
we're too focused on the outcome instead of the journey, yeah, I think that
Yeah.
is part of the problem because I can tell you too, when you get there too fast, you felt like you didn't even do it. Have you
Yeah.
ever felt that? And you're like, oh, that wasn't, it was that, like
It's
you
like
said.
wah wah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So
But
I
if you
like that.
but have lots of sex, you're not avoiding it.
Right.
You just stop right like a hair right before you get to that moment.
Yeah.
And then it just keep that arousal building
Yeah.
and building and building until you can't take it anymore.
Well, and
That's pretty
some
hot.
of that can just be sensual touch, like massage. It doesn't even
Oh
have
yeah.
to be, right. Yeah. And I think people like, oh, I'm going to spend a lot of time. Well, it doesn't have to be penetration or,
Yeah, yeah.
intercourse. It can just
Hmm.
be sensual massage. Get some body
Hmm.
oil out
Hmm.
and, you know, again, I like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Well, make sure you all check out Dan's podcast and his website. Lots of great information, especially if you are convinced, like I am, that I'm going to be having a thriving sex life until, whenever,
Yeah.
85 or
Yep.
90.
Uh-huh.
Actually, did you know, most STDs are, I mean,
That's right, I heard. They're in
yeah,
nursing homes.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's crazy.
Uh-huh.
So
Yep.
something's going on there,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dan.
Okay. Take
Okay.
care.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye bye.